All right, shall we? Good day. I'm feeling better than last time. Last 2 weeks ago, Thursday, was the morning after I was drinking whiskey with a friend until very late. And not at all considering the ramifications of my choices. Oh, man. Yeah, once that's up on YouTube, I encourage you to go have a listen to my voice and see how it was doing. Feeling better today. It's all right. How's everyone doing? We got Turi. Good to see you again. Official. The official WME. Shigans, Natasha, Ezekiel, Matt Galt, who is now scheduled. I had to write that wrong. Thank you for your patience. Bill Wiggs, there he is. I assume that's one Will Biggs. It must be, right? Can you imagine if Bill Wiggs wasn't Will Biggs? What a world. Okay, we got Blast SD. Hello, guys. Blast, are you... I've seen your name before, right? Here and there in the past? You're right in the cusp of Are You New? Let me clear your name. 39 messages. Okay, you've been here before. All right. What's up? Genie Linguini. What a handle. Holy, what a handle. Handle of the day. Wins best handle. Solid. Glenn. When you hear Kevin's sweet, sweet voice. When you see Kevin's sweet, sweet face. Settle down. Good to see you. And Alex. Alex, are you employed now? I saw one Twitter bio that may suggest you're employed now. In which case, I'm not surprised. Just given the little I've seen of your site thus far, I'm not surprised at all. This is what we like to call the Josh Adam Bell effect. Of here's a bunch of stuff, you don't even need to listen to it and you know I'm serious. Alright, pull this out of it. You're gainfully employed. Let me just, or you can share if you want, I can just go to your page, I guess. Who will get there first? Probably you. Junior technical sound designer at Cloud Imperium. Speaking of Josh Adam Bell. Very nice. Very nice. Well done. One more of these for you. Give him a round. We will still look at your stuff today because, you know, why not? Never hurts to get some feedback and keep learning, right? But... Will Biggs, I don't know if you're employed. So perhaps we'll focus our efforts a little more on you this time? Or something? I have a bad habit of spending more time on the first person we look at, because we end up like tangenting and talking about random game audio stuff, so it ends up being like, you know, 1/3 on person 1, 1/3 on person 2, and 1/3 of the pie chart just on whatever random game audio nonsense we end up you know, landing on that flavor of the week. Well, Raiden, if you are not familiar with what the stream's all about, let me tell you, and anyone else here who might not be aware, this is Real Talk. We're having a look at some game audio demo materials from some up-and-comers and helping them to hopefully land a gig. Give some constructive feedback to improve their chances of finding gainful employment in the game industry. That's the idea, at least. Alex, as it turns out, didn't need our help. Well, this is V2, mind you. So we played a part, a very small part. I mean, every person who submits their stuff to this stream, you know, very courageous, getting on stage and having your stuff torn apart by your peers, of course. But the bottom line is any feedback we give pales in comparison to the hours and years of work every person's putting in terms of learning their craft and refining their craft, of course, right? Getting the work done. But happy to help how we can. Before we do, though, you are listening to the sweet sounds of one... Can you even read that? Probably not. Of Danny Baranowski of Brace Yourself Games. This is the soundtrack of Industries of Titan, and you're listening to it because it freaking released on Monday on Steam. Steam Early Access. I'm going to play a thing for you here. I can go full screen, right? Oh my goodness, full screen. Let's go. Let's go.
Return to your residence. Rebel attack imminent. This is not a drill.
People come to Titan, bursting with hope and energy. Both valuable commodities for your flourishing city corporation. They come willingly. So do not be afraid to push them beyond their biological limits. Strong, Founder. The rebel uprising is a threat to your bottom line. Eliminate them, and you will be rewarded.
Hey, hooray. Oh my god. No, get out of here. It got me. It got me. Yeah, there you go. It's coming along. I just quit this by accident. Back up, please. Here we go. Yeah. So is it Phil Lamar? No, it's actually Lee Majdoub, who you might know from such films as the Sonic movie. If it'll load, here we go. Check it out. This guy, Jim Carrey. This is so cute. Dreams come true. That's awesome. He's Agent Stone in the Sonic film. He's a good dude. He is awesome to work with. Loved it. The whole cast of Titan thus far has been awesome to work with. It's been really, really, really solid. But anyways, yeah, so if you want to play it, check it out on Steam. There's folks playing on Twitch. We had a whole launch event happen this week. You can see some folks who are playing right now. I'm not sure where they are. There's like, who's playing? We got, I think Ezekiel was playing just now. Go way back with that guy, Darkest Dungeon and stuff. Anyway, so carrying on with Real Talk stuff though, we're having a look at Alex and William Biggs. So I mentioned we were just given some feedback to help people increase their chances of finding work. We're just playing the odds, right? That's all we're doing when you apply for a gig. And we're looking at a few things to help kind of keep us on track in the conversation and look at these criteria. So they're down here. Raiden, looking at you. Look down here, okay? We got presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. So for presentation, we're looking at kind of the website on the whole. Just general navigation stuff is the most important information right in our face right away. All that stuff. It's not really a web design critique stream, but we'll just give some basic feedback. But for the reel itself, we're looking at things like the length of the thing, the flow, if there's correct, accurate, and succinct information regarding the pieces therein. Is there like bookends on the beginning and end? Is there contact info, that kind of thing? Just all the basics, everything besides the actual sound itself, right? And for material selection, the second criteria, we're looking at the pieces the person's chosen for their demo reel, for their portfolio, and what these various pieces might suggest about what their past work history looks like, or what their current skill sets look like, or what they want to be doing eventually, their ambitions, right? And hopefully we can glean that, because we're going in blind. I have not looked at Alex's V2 stuff. I have not looked at William Biggs's stuff at all. And I assume that's the same is true for most of the chat right now, if not the majority. I'm sure if not everyone, yeah. So we're looking at all that stuff, and then content quality is the third criteria. We're looking at just, is it good? Is the audio in the reel good? Is in the various portfolio pieces? Is it up to the standard, like the industry standard of awesome, we always say? And if not, if there's room to improve, room to level up in some way, I'm sure I will be happy to let you know what I think, and I'm sure the chat will be happy to let you know as well. And finally, distinction is kind of a buzzword, just means are you standing out in some positive way, as there are a whole lot of people applying for audio gigs. Basically, every time I've asked someone in AAA, what kind of volume of applications they get when they put some junior posting up, and they'll be like, yeah, it's like 800 or something, like a backlog of 1,000. Like, it's just a ridiculous number. So that's what we're saying when we're talking about playing the odds. There's no sure thing when it comes to applying for a gig like this, but you can certainly, have as many, try to inject as many pluses as you can on and how you present yourself and your work itself. And hopefully that'll, increase your odds enough that you'll land the gig. That's the idea, at least. It seems to have worked for Alex. He's at Cloud Imperium now, working on a 1-star citizen. Batia 666, Sahil, right? Sahil Batia, is that right? Good to see you. Sahil hit me up on LinkedIn and was like, advice, game industry advice, please. And I was like, come watch our stream. So here he is. There you go. Good on you. More applause. I'm handing these claps out like candy today. Okay, so Alex, I'm going to start with William, if you don't mind, as I kind of imagine we might spend a bit longer on his stuff, and it just makes sense too, since you're already hired. It's just out of the goodness of our hearts, probably the move. Might need to refresh. Okay, let's do that right now. Shift F5, do a hard refresh. Okay, small change. See if we can spot it. Your name is still William Biggs. All right, so shall we? So we got, this is the front page. I can't scroll. This is it. We got reel. Okay, first, so sound designer, first and foremost, entirely. Portfolio. We got all videos. Oh, it's this kind of layout. I don't like these layouts, man, because this arrow is so easy to miss. Like, I'd much rather just have, like, here's the gist of everything I've worked on. This is it might just be a me thing, but like Damien Shepard's page, I just always come back to. I just love his page so much. It's so easy just to see all these things. It's so engaging and interesting to look at. And it just has this, because think about it. Like, we have no idea at a glance, like, how much stuff you have. Like, we have your reel, it looks like, which we've already seen. We'll get into that. And we've got 2 things. There might be like one more thing on this arrow, or there might be like 80 more things past this arrow, right? So whereas Damien's page is just like, hey, here's all this cool stuff you can look at, take your pick. And he has, no, it's all animating. This is a great page. It looks very nice. And it just suggests to someone without even listening to anything. It's like, oh, this person's like done a bunch of stuff, which is just a positive thing right away. So just be aware of that. There's this hidden content thing. It might feel like you're being kind of more minimalist and directing people's attention a certain way. But yeah, with this stuff, like if you see something like this, the inclination is to click the top left one, like the first thing in the list, right? But if they are even on this page at all, it means they liked your reel, right? Like, that's the general navigation stuff we're talking about. If they watch your reel and they're like, damn, William Biggs sounds awesome. What else you got to share? We got portfolio. Maybe the about would be the next place to go. But portfolio, we got like, the first thing we see is the show reel. And I assume this is the same video, 108. I think it's the same, right? 108, yeah. So this is just taking up space because you can assume they've already watched it. So then we have the next thing, which is 9 minutes long. Pretty significant. Some music or something. I guess we'll look at that in a second. Let's see how many there are. So we got Sound Design Reel 2020. So another reel. Okay. Yeah, so curious in the chat. Oh, by the way, what's up, Presley? I didn't see you roll in. Good to see you. Yeah, so I'm curious what people think of this, because I know what I think. With reels, to me, the only reel you should have up is the one that is most relevant to you right now. Because it's not, people generally, it's not that they don't want to know how much you've improved, because that's all that can really be conveyed through like, oh, here's my old reel, here's my new reel. Look how much better I am now, right? That's kind of the assumption of why you'd have something like this up. And it's unlikely that people are going to have time to like draw that comparison and stuff. All they want to know is like, are you awesome right now? Because A, their time is valuable. So this kind of thing, like if there's things in here that are awesome, just put them in your main reel or just put them separate. I feel like that's the move. Origin of Storms. I don't know what that is, but moving on. Oh, that's it. So we press the button and it's just not wide enough for the page. Look at that. So that's kind of a bit of a fake out too. I guess I'm zoomed in pretty far, but so 100%, what do we get? We got this. So it's like bleep, but okay, that's, what the heck? Oh my goodness. Esk. Yeah, I just don't love this. There's all this wasted space here, you know? There's not enough things in this list to justify, like there are 5 things in this entire list, you know? You could easily just fit them like 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't use the reel, now it's 4 things, and don't use the second reel, now it's 3 things, right? So yeah, there's just no reason to have this kind of layout. I hard recommend like the Damien Shepherd kind of approach instead. That kind of something similar. Let's go see your about before carrying on any further. We got, I'll zoom back in again. All right, there he is. Excellent. I love the relevant pick. And there's a cool picture too. Nice work. Yeah, by relevant pick, I mean it's not you like standing in front of the ocean. Could be a nice picture, sure. Might be a nice photo, but photos that show you doing a thing you like doing in a relevant space and audio is generally a better call for a page like this. So, hi, I'm William, a sound designer based in the UK. I've been designing sound since 2016 when I first ventured into game audio at university. In my final year, I went a step further and based my final project on interactive sound in Fmod. Since then, I've worked on a variety of projects, including game jams, mobile games, and even film. I am able to implement audio using Fmod, Wise, Unreal Blueprints, and Unity. For my work, I primarily use Reaper, but I am also comfortable using Pro Tools. Cool. Outside of game audio, I play bass in the Hull-based trio Bloodhound. We released our first album, Fragile Skeleton. Skedolin? Is that intentional spelling? Skedolin? Last year, and are now working on new material. Maybe the album's called Fragile Skedolin. I don't know. Some of my favorite games are Decitney 2, misspelling, Terraria, Hollow Knight, Bastion, Bioshock, Halo 3, and Fallout New Vegas. Cool. I'm currently looking for an in-house sound designer position at a game studio. Great. Okay, so this sentence I don't really get. In my final year, I went a step further and based my final project on interactive sound in Fmod. So I think the reason I'm maybe confused is because I don't have any idea what the nature of your curriculum was, right? So if your curriculum doesn't include middleware or something, then I guess this sentence makes sense. But yeah, I'm just not sure what to make of this. It's kind of, maybe you can clarify in the chat like what the deal with that is. Since then, I worked on a variety of things. Cool. I think maybe it's just like a tone thing, but saying I am able to is maybe like the bare minimum, you know? It's like if I gave you dinner and you're like, what is it? I'm like, well, it's technically food. You know, it's like, oh, it's a delicious casserole. You know, it's a little bit different, like the language you're using. I am able to implement is kind of like, well, sure. Like, what do you enjoy doing though? I'm much more interested in like what you love doing rather than what you are able to do. It's just like a language thing. It's probably what you love doing too, but you know, semantics. I love the band thing. Really cool. Yeah, this is not at all, like writing is like my least favorite thing to do. It's the thing I'm worst at, and it's my least favorite thing to do in the world. So I am not the one to edit your bio. I'm just giving you some kind of gut reaction stuff as I read it. On the whole, I do like it in general. It says what you want to do. It says your favorite games. Cool. I like seeing that in the bio. It says your personal music stuff. Awesome. And cool as well that you say sound designer, but you have this like you're playing bass and stuff. That's really valuable. I think a lot of people would see like a music background as a plus. We certainly do. Like with Power Up, I mean, all 5 of us at Power Up have backgrounds in music of some kind, like playing in bands or going to post-secondary or whatever. Like I actually went to college for music composition, right? Like I don't write music these days, but it's still super, super relevant in sound design. Great. Let's move on. Contact. Feel free to contact me directly through my email or through my website. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. Oh, the background changes too. So cool. Nice. Be nice. And I assume the background is like something you did or had done because it matches your color scheme in your video. Is that fair to say? It's nice. It's clean. Or perhaps you found a template and then based your colors off the template. I don't know. If so, then also nice. Okay, well, let's watch this thing, shall we? I'm all cranked up. I'll turn my sidechain off. Okay. Let's go ahead, full screen, and let's go. All right, so 2 things. A, I feel the need to skip forward because it's not a game, and I'm looking for game stuff. B, this film sounds incredible, so it's a bold move to redesign it. But we'll keep going, watch the whole thing. Just bear in mind, this piece is a bit out of place currently. Whooshing. All right. Okay. Great movie. Yeah, Arrival's crazy good. Crazy good film. And as a guy who was into language stuff, oh man, what a good film. Chell, what's up? What's up? You joined just in time. Yeah, there you go. And it's Chell official now, right? Did I see that on online somewhere? Chell official? No longer Chell. Just like in social situations. Yeah, nice work. Nice work, William. Let's go through in detail, shall we? So this thing, there you go. Congrats to Chell Wong for being officially, legally Chell Wong. It's very exciting. Very cool. All right, let's go ahead and, yes, a penguin dude no more. Chell Wong audio, let's go. Okay, so presentation stuff first. This is 1:08 long, which is fine. I think 10x is yes, this is about William Big. Let's go. We're back on track. Don't worry. So we're making like good time today too. I'm blasting through this. We're at 12:25, and we're already through the reel. That's unheard of. So yeah, 10x, like minute or up to 1:09 is like kind of my. If I see a 1x, I start to get a little bothered. But this is fine. However, we'll talk about material selection in a second. Just presentation stuff. So opening, we got this. That's fine. It's a pretty bare minimum animation thing, but better than nothing, certainly. I'll say though, it didn't really sync to it. That's kind of the first thing I thought. It's cool sound, if I close my eyes. It's like what you might call freestyle sound design. It's a fun practice. Just start dropping stuff into a timeline and see what cool sound you can make, right? That's kind of what this is. because there's not much sync to work with in the first place. But there is an impact in your sound. And there isn't really an impact in the visual. Like maybe when the fade gets to here, you know? And that's all you, like the fade is done. It's like, now we see William Biggs. But it did strike me as being maybe mismatched the first time through. We'll carry on. So first thing we got Metro Exodus A4 Games. William Biggs, come on, man. Should know better. We need to have a redesign here because you did not work on Metro Exodus. You need sound redesign. That's a really important thing. Very, very important thing to have here. Because worst case scenario, folks will make assumptions and think, A, you worked on it, which you didn't, or B, they'll make assumptions that you think you worked, that you were claiming to have worked on it and didn't. And perhaps in a worst case scenario, the person reviewing your work is the person who worked on the project. And that has happened to me. That has happened to me. Not in a real job application, but on Real Talk, someone didn't put sound redesign. And it was like, yeah, that was our work. Like Power Up did that trailer. So, just be aware. Sound redesign, sound redesign, sound redesign. Really important. Moving on. Okay, Arrival. The full blackout is fine. I definitely prefer when reels are approached from like a cinematic perspective. So maybe you choose your pieces to flow together well and then design those pieces, as opposed to just designing random things or taking the random things you've done and just like drop them on a timeline, and being like, it's my stuff, it's fine. It's kind of like, it's okay, but it's not a plus like those pluses we were talking about previously. It's if you have like one reel with just random stuff back to back with some fade outs between or something, or even cross fades between, and then you have another reel that has like awesome transitions where, you know, there's like one clip and like the hammer is coming down, next clip is like an explosion in Call of Duty. Like the movement between projects you've worked on, like personal projects, sound redesigns, whatever, that movement can go a long way to indicate you have some aptitude for storytelling, and storytelling is the entire industry of sound design. Like that's all you do as a job. So yeah, being able to convey that you can tell a story even with your own work, it's such a plus. It's like multiple pluses. So yeah, while the blackout into the next clip is fine, it's not really like gonna win you any points. That's all. I think a lot of people think of it as like a palette cleanser, and that's kind of valid, but I just don't think it's necessary. Yeah. Skipping through this. Arrival. Okay, Star Citizen trailers. So yeah, speaking of this, so Cloud Imperium. I again don't think you worked on this. I think it's safe to assume that, right? So yeah, sound redesign, you need that here. However, good on you for putting the name of the company in here, because some people don't do that, and it's a nice courtesy for sure. Let's carry on. We got Dead Space 2, Visceral. You guessed it, sound redesign. Let's put that in there. And then finally, we got the kind of the J cut, I guess the L cut. I don't know what you call that. And then the thing at the end, that's a little better synced, isn't it? Yeah, see that implies to me that you had sync in mind, but yeah, the opening didn't really come across like that. So, and then finally, there is nothing, just a fade out. So, okay, the presentation is kind of fine. You didn't win a lot of points on it. You have, like, the length is good. I'm glad it's not long, because yeah, the length can be an issue. However, one of the pieces being film is an issue. And I know that in your about, you did say that you've worked on a variety of projects, including game jams, mobile games, and even film. So perhaps film is a consideration, but right here it says you're looking for a job at a game studio. So if that's the case, then you can it'd be a safe bet to go all in on games. Like you don't need to be doing a redesign of like Avengers Endgame or something. It's not going to be as powerful as doing a redesign of like the Spider-Man games, right? Like it's like the same kind of content, same kind of world, but it's just relevant to the industry you're going for. That's all. So let's have a look at your portfolio though, because for material selection, you had some things in there. They're all redesigns, and they're also all cinematic. So there's nothing of regarding you say you're able to implement audio using Fmod, Wise, Unreal Blueprints, and Unity. So prove it. Can you? Let's see here. We got 2 videos here. We got 1, I guess 3. What is this thing first? Origin of Storms. What are you? 16 seconds long. Very short. Is this your work? There's no text here. So right now, okay, William, this is really, really damn important. So, and this goes for everyone in the chat. Everyone's got to realize this. If you have gotten so far with a job application that people are even looking at this, they're even looking at your secondary materials, then you need to be capitalizing on that moment. You need to. Tuba Hero, what's up? Good to see you. This needs to be a capitalizing moment. And what I mean by that, it's like a 1-2 punch. You have the one punch is the reel, and your reel like kicks ass, it's amazing, and they want to see more. So the moment they want to learn more, they will either click on, we can assume, probably about, to learn more about you, because they wouldn't click about first, it's assumable. And they might click portfolio to maybe learn more about some of the pieces in your reel, or to see what else you've worked on, that kind of thing. So let's say they go to the about. If they do, they see you've worked on, you like this tech, these software and such, middleware, so forth. And also that you claim to have worked on a variety of projects, including game jams, mobile games, and film. So now what I'm looking for is where are those things you worked on? Because I want to see what they are like, what kind of style you brought to them when you had full control, right? And especially if you were in there with Fmod or something. Let's see, action RPG, audio implementation, right? This thing. Okay, so Origin of Storms, this has no text. This has absolutely no information about what you did on it, right? So it's just a redesign. So yeah, put sound redesign. It's got to be here. Has to be. So let's watch. I'm curious your previous show reel. Let's have a look. Let's go. Show, don't just tell. Yeah, it's show, but you need to have something there to clarify what they're looking at, right? And if you're telling, it's even better. It's best to have like a commentated video saying, "Oh, here's the cool thing I did. Check it out. It's awesome. You're gonna love it." Like you saying that is gonna be so much more powerful than like some big freaking, some big like multiple paragraph text on the side, or text on the video is also not as good as having your voice there directing our attention and such. But let's see this reel. Let's go.
Gear up. The hunt begins. Scanning the area.
Yeah, so your work is clearly improved, which is good. The film, there you go. Was that Endgame? Did I just call that? I can't recall. Is this an Endgame clip? I don't know. Isn't that like from the final fight? Okay, so... Oh, it's from Iron Man, my bad. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even include that at this point. Because again, back to my previous note, if someone is going to look at your portfolio content at all, it needs to be building upon what they've already learned about you. And again, if they are on this page at all, it means they liked your stuff and want to learn more, period. There's no reason they'd ever be here otherwise, okay? So if that is their headspace, they're like, "Oh man, William's awesome. What else?" And we go watch something previous, like you did a year previous, that is inferior to your current work. That's not a valuable use of their time. Does that make sense? Because they're not learning anything new. They might learn like, oh, they've gotten better, but again, it's not really relevant to them. Like all they're going to care about like how good you are right now. There's maybe an argument to be made like, oh, well, they can get better on their own time, and therefore they have clear passion, and therefore they're a safe bet. Like kinda, but if you're putting all this time in to learn these tools and stuff, it's just assumable that you're interested in these things. Like there's ways you can convey that you're passionate and interested and capable without having to be like, yeah, compared to my work from 5 years ago kind of thing, right? So let's watch your action RPG thing instead. Let's have a look. This is quite long. Oh no, it's not. The other one's long. Okay, first let's have a look at this. The base game is called Action RPG, which I downloaded from the Unreal Marketplace. I know it. I completely redesigned with an E, what's those typos, and re-recorded all of the sound assets and implemented them in the engine using blueprints. Cool. In some cases, I could just use the blueprints that already worked in the game, but in others, I created my own because I thought that it would work better and be more easily understood. Great. Let's have a look. I'm no blueprints expert, by the way. This is not something I spent a ton of time in. I spent some time in, but I haven't really worked on games that have like demanded that of me. So yeah, my skills in blueprints are loose at best. Okay, so I just sometimes during real talk, I like to try to acknowledge like third person what my brain is doing, and I fully lost. I glazed over about right here, and my brain did this. My eyes came over here and looked at the chat, and that's because I wasn't. My attention was not being held, and there's perhaps reasons for that. But it's like cool to see what you did, but I'd way rather know like what you did in blueprints. And okay, here we go. So a minute in, we have some Unreal content. Are you gonna tell us? Hard cut. Yeah, so I didn't see any of that. It's a lot of like, I mean, sure, there are blueprints here, but like, look how long this is up for. So it's like 3 seconds, right? And okay, so it's this, on, clicked, start game button, play sound, UI sound. Okay, sure. So like, sure, but oh man, I'd rather hear you explaining it to us. Oh man, because it's like, imagine you invite your friend over and you just got this cool thing working in this Unreal demo action RPG and you can't wait to share it with them. So treat your mic, like the video you're recording, like it's a friend you're showing your cool work to. Because if you've done something you're proud of, like this stuff, so you made your own because you thought it would work better, like show us that. What'd you do that was your own? That's super cool, you know? Because that shows independent thought and learning. That's excellent. But just this video does not demonstrate this right now. Yeah, it's like, sure. You know, so good that you did all this stuff. And it does look good that you put all this work in because you didn't have to. You know, you took it upon yourself to learn this content and do the work, and that's awesome. But you can make it more effective in how you present it. It's so frequent on Real Talk that the problem is not one of skill or interest or like of craft. It's like it's one of communication, that people just don't communicate their work as effectively as they could. That's all. To Be Hero asks, so would you say that as you improve, you should throw out your old things in a portfolio rather than simply adding to it? Well, it depends. Because if your old stuff kicks ass, then sure, keep it around. But if you think that it is not, if you think your work has improved and your old work is not standing the test of time and is maybe feeling a bit, maybe it's aging like milk, or you just simply have improved, period, and your new stuff's better, then yeah, it might be time to get rid of it. And if at that point you think your reel could use, or your portfolio could use more content, then make more content. And so it's more content that reflects your current skill level and your current interests and all that stuff. Yeah, and we have what should jump to Lightspeed sound like? Oh, but first, Presley says, observation that is likely insignificant, but is interesting to me. Your website background's very clean, kind of cartoony, happy vibes, and all of your show reels are super action heavy, creepy things, gore, etc. That's a good point. That hadn't occurred to me. Yeah, it's like you look at a site like let's say A Shell in the Pit. Okay, so A Shell in the Pit are some pals of ours here in town. They just released Chicory, A Colorful Tale recently. This is their website. They're also an audio crew. There might be someone in the chat right now who is from them. It's possible. They certainly frequent us. Yeah, great crew. Look at this.
Hey.
Right? Huh? There's Murray. They're all making noise. Their page is super bouncy and colorful and stuff. And their games are, Night in the Woods, Untitled Goose Game, I Can Fail, Fantastic Contraption. Like, these are very Wander Song. They just did Chicory, right? Like, these are all kind of wholesome games. So it's one-to-one with their brand. So the idea of your brand being built around this front page is maybe, not quite in line with your work, right? And yeah, by the way, Presley's at PlayStation Studios right now, so you can listen to them. They know what they're talking about. Thank you for weighing in, Presley, as always. Appreciate that. Okay, let's watch this thing also, or some of it at least. There's like 9 minutes.
It's become a staple of science fiction now that
Is that you talking?
Spaceships can, well, they can do this. I'm Will, and today we're talking about that thing that spaceships do when they go really fast. More specifically, the sound that thing makes. Let's call it a jump to light speed, because each use of this effect is called something different. In Star Wars, it's called a jump to hyperspace or light speed, but in Star Trek, it's a warp.
Okay, so this video, it seems like it's aimed at the, guess what, right? Will, I know you so much more as a person now than I did 2 minutes ago. I know Will now. Yes, exactly. Like, suddenly you're a person. Because again, you're looking to increase your chances of getting hired, right? So things like impressions. If your voice is part of your whole, everything that person knows about you, that's another impression. And if it comes to hiring, maybe you don't get hired this time around, but next time it may be like, oh yeah, Will, I recall that cool video they made. So far, this video smacks to me of this is a video for the general public about Lightspeed sounds, because the first 3 seconds you're talking about like things that exist out there already and things that Lightspeed are called. So again, I don't, this is an assumption I'm making thus far, which is I think a valid one. So 30 seconds in, I'm now questioning, like, do I want to watch this? Because I have 400 more applications on my desk. And I don't know if this is a valuable use of my time, because every person I look at is like 5 minutes. Do the math. It's a lot of time, right? So if this isn't telling me how you're making this sound, like, where is it? Is it here?
Space bend like this.
Is it even going to be your work? So like, is this your design work, or is it you like doing a commentary on other Lightspeed design in media in the world, So it's not clear what this video is. So I'm like de-incentivized from watching it because I'm busy. Like, I'm not busy now. I have another 45 minutes of this stream to do, right? But as a person hiring, you need to put yourself in their shoes, and they're going to be very busy. So if you have a video that's like, hey, here's me redesigning Lightspeed, and you jump right into the meat of it, like, hey, here's what I recorded, here's how it sounds, you're going to be way better off than here's a general kind of thing I did. This isn't the worst thing to include in your portfolio somewhere, but maybe not the first thing, because right now, the reel is the first thing. And again, we've already watched that, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be on this page at all. And with this one, this is now the first video. And this is not a demonstration of your further work, as far as I can tell so far. You say, yeah, so it's a bit like a video essay with a bit of redesign in it. Okay. Yeah, so it's not easy for me to find that And like even now in the stream, I kind of don't want to try and find it, you know, which just it certainly says something. Like on the stream, that our entire purpose of being here is to look at your work and critique it. I don't really want to find it because it seems challenging to do it. Official W, me. Kevin, do you have quick tips for what to watch out for in dialogue editing when doing presentation VO? I heard VO is best not attempted unless done by a professional in one of your past talks, but that was related to gameplay. Right. So there's two kinds of VO. One is like dramatic stuff. So for instance, sorry to drag on you, Will, but the VO in this one here.
Scanning the area.
Scanning the area. Like it's fine. But I mean, I've seen my fair share of like regrettable VO. That wasn't quite to regrettable levels. It was just fine. It's really impressive if you can nail VO in a sound design reel, but you don't need to have VO in a sound design reel at all. That's one thing. If there are lips moving and there's no voice, like no one's going to follow you for that. It's fine. It's because your job isn't to be a voice actor in that case. But if you want to invest in your work and pay some up-and-coming voice actor, a friend of yours from school or something like that, someone online, even like Fiverr, just find someone who's within your budget and get them to do a thing. And if it sounds awesome, then hell yeah, put it in there. It's like how you said you commissioned the background, William. That's awesome. Like the fact that your page looks like no one else's is such a plus. And it further it suggests that you're serious because you're willing to invest either the time of doing it yourself or the money of paying someone else to. This looks good rather than using some stock Squarespace template or something like that, right? So the second kind of VO though is if you want to do a clip like this where you're talking about the work you did, then yeah, there's like a secondary kind of like adjudication that comes along with that. One is the work that they're demonstrating. They're saying, hey, look at this cool Fmod thing I did. Pretty sweet, right? Let me walk you through it. So one is the work itself. Is it cool? Does it make sense? And are they stoked? And the second part is how do they sound while doing it? Because like myself, when I began in the industry, I still do it sometimes. It's something I fight with all the time still. But I have like the reverse of stuttering. So it's called cluttering, where you end up skipping over syllables and words and sounds and like, yeah, it's the worst. So I struggle with certain words now and again, and you will probably hear me kind of like mumble occasionally, but through much practice and self-loathing, I've gotten through a lot of that, and I can speak to you intelligibly now for the most part, I hope. But yeah, starting out, it's hard to record yourself doing voiceover and stuff. But even like I've heard some people awkwardly speaking and stuff, and it's still fine because they're still obviously interested in what they're doing. The bigger considerations are things like editing. Like if there are not faded regions, if you can hear a pop when they start speaking, or if it's like fighting with the mix, if they're speaking so quietly and there's like music blasting and you can't even tell what they're saying, like those kind of things they measure in way more than like how you're performing as a voice actor on the mic. Yeah, it's much more like on a technical level, that kind of thing. So yeah, watch out for general editing, things like pacing, things like, technical, are you fading your regions? Are you crossfading in ways that make sense? And just like general mix stuff. And also the quality of the voice. Like, are you on a mic? Can you put a compressor and an EQ and like a limiter and like a de-esser or whatever on a mic? And can you sound good in the end? Like right now, this is all smoke and mirrors, right? Like here is the mic with no effects. Like this is me speaking into the same position. And now we turn on the EQ and the gate and the compressor and the limiter. And now we have a voice that sounds better for streaming. And it's very basic, but it's obviously better, right? So that kind of thing measures into if there's like a massive room tone behind your voice and it's like, and your voice is like over here talking about the thing that you're interested in. Like it's not going to come across very positively, obviously, right? You risk people not even understanding what you're talking about or not getting the point of your presentation because they can't hear you or it's too distracting. So that's a pretty massive consideration there. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so let's oh, what is this? All videos? Share. Oh, classic like template widget thing. Yeah, you don't need to have things like this on your page. Careful of that. Smacks of I use a template and I just like left all the widgets on because no one's going to share your portfolio page on social media. No matter how good it is, they are not going to share it. So let's go to your reel again and talk about some content stuff. Okay, let's see here, William. Let's go. Right, so, and as always, feel free to drop your own ideas in the chat. This is a very open forum roundtable kind of, you know, there are no bad ideas, and we're happy to give feedback of any kind. So, let's go. Starts out, what we got? So, breath on the fade in, cool. And a meme boy. So, we have the landing here, like a doof nearby. I like the distant footsteps a lot. It feels good. Like it feels distant and snowy and such. Really nice. But here, so I'm not sure if that's him landing nearby or if that's like the grab. But I feel like either the grab or the landing are missing. Like one of them is, right? Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Yeah, so ba-dum, ba-dum. I don't picture him being here after ba-dum, ba-dum. Like, the thing with this shot, we're not looking at this ape now, right? So we have a lot of leeway, some latitude, if you will, to kind of design this however we want. So what did they do? Did they take another step? Did they like skid to a stop? Did they like dive for you and like reach in? Did they leap from that position and like grab onto the metal here and like, you know, we don't know. So you can do a lot with this moment here to just help, like I was saying, just help tell that story, right? Like what happened. And right now there's kind of not much. We have ba-dum ba-dump and then poof. Yes, stereo voice. Ed Hipkins with the ace. Totally. Yes, this is very stereo. That's a very good point. So there it's nice. It's distant. Yeah, those growls especially, they're pretty wide. It's like we're in their head. Yeah, be aware of panning stuff and stereo width stuff. You know, bring that growl into here instead. It could be even like here, you know, make it like 30 degrees left and right of center. That's an option. You know, make it kind of big and rich and scary. But yeah, hard left right is a, you know, keep in mind hard left and hard right are sacred territory when it comes to mixing. So be careful of that. Ah, big yell. Yeah, cool. This is very much about the vocal design, seems. Sure. Okay, moving on. Arrival. I kind of want to skip this. Like it's the classic. Like this film sounds so good. I've seen this film like 5 times, so I know what this scene sounds like, and you are inevitably going to be compared to the original for things that sound amazing. It's just, yeah, be careful of that. I mean, I wouldn't include this in the reel at all, like as we've talked about. But if you're doing like games, you know, I would recommend against redesigning projects that have won like best audio awards and stuff like that, you know. Do voice always have to be in mono? Well, that's a pretty hard line in the sand to draw. I would say no. It depends what the thing is, right? I mean, is the voice being projected telepathically? In that case, like, make it wide as hell. Totally, make it binaural. there's also an option of like, I mean, the more like grounded in reality the voice is, then yeah, probably the more mono it should be, because a mono source, if something's mono, it means it's point source. It means the voice is coming from a position in space, right? But if it's something you could like maybe be more stylized with, then sure, make it wide. Why not? There's also things like voice, narration, voice widening and stuff like that. You can use things like stereo spread plugins. If there's things like narration and commentary, or like the trailer kind of narration voice in Titan, I think there's a bit of width in that, but I don't push it too far because it just sounds unnatural. But yeah, if you want like a really big, rich, like room-filling sound, you could maybe pull it out a little bit. But yeah, it's not really the same thing as, Hellblade. There you go. Natasha called it, of course. Make it binaural. Yeah. So just, be careful. Just make sure it's appropriate to the media. That's all. This is like a fine effort. It's a fine effort. It's not too bad. But it sounds a bit like you're trying to reproduce the original, right? And because we're just comparing to the original in our heads, it ends up being like, oh, it's not quite as good. Like, even if it is good, there's like a psychological kind of like predisposition to liking the original more. Does that make sense? If this is the only thing anyone's ever heard, they might be like, yeah, sounds pretty sick. But because that's unlikely, then yeah, you're running that risk. That's all. Moving on, next piece. So Stars is in Cloud Imperium. What happened there? Something like cutting it out? Oh, it's this, I see. Oh, okay, jeez. So is that panned also? No, it's just wide. So same note here. I didn't know what that sound was because it's stereo. That's, case in point. So just be really aware of point source stuff, because it can be, in worst case scenarios, confusing. Like, I literally thought that was an error in the audio export or something like that, because it's just so like it's so wide, right? It sounds like a static thing. But yeah, if it was like from the position in space, then I might be more inclined to believe what I'm hearing. I may just draw that. I may draw that relationship much easier, or interpret that relationship much easier, or more naturally. Yeah, cool. I mean, I'm definitely not like a big AAA space guy, but that's nice. I think that it's a challenging space to reside in, because like, are you ignoring highs because it's space and that is the choice you're making? Because there's more highs there in the intro, some. And even those are higher. Like, the highs here are also dulled, but they're higher than we have in the intro. So yeah, just a risky piece. If you close your eyes and watch this right now, let's do it together. Let's go. So if you were to draw a line and graph energy over time, I don't know that the graph you would draw from hearing that would match the graph you would draw from seeing it. It's, the ending in particular is very like it spikes hard with kind of like the suck in, so to speak. We have nothing happening, and now here it's like we have a bit of a energy buildup, charging up, and then we go, there's like the flashes like this, flashing. Look at that. That's crazy. So this, visually, this is so massively different than like the previous frame, It's so different. And in the audio, we don't really hear a lot of that. There's some stutter synth stuff. It's like that kind of thing. but it's mostly tied to the charge up, it seems, and not really to what's happening here. And even the, like, it doesn't feel to me personally like the ramp is as hard as it is visually. I think that's why it didn't quite land for me. I think you have some cool textures in there, like synth-wise. Some cool stuff. The classic stutter synth build-up. I think there's room to go harder on that yet. One piece of advice that I give on Real Talk a lot is to take any kind of feedback, or if you're exploring something in your own design, if you're thinking like, oh, how energetic should this be? How crazy should I make this? You know, are we talking like throw a decapitator plug in on there and like punish the crap out of it? Or are we going to be a little more reserved with it? And when you're exploring that, I would encourage you to, go as far as you can imagine. Explore that range. And then when you decide, okay, that's too crazy, obviously, what was I thinking? That's a good thing though, because now you have this like really far range from this reserve place to this crazy spot. And the right place for the piece is probably in here somewhere. Well, you know it's in here somewhere, right? It's between these two extremes. So maybe it's like in the middle. So you can land in the middle and be like, is that right? No, I think that crazy one, there's still something in there I like more. And now you can like refine again and land between the crazy one and the middle. So now it's like 2 revisions and you're done. As opposed to if you are back here and you think, it's too reserved, I could do a little more, I guess. And you inchworm forward and it's like, that's a bit more energetic, I guess. Is it enough? I don't know, and you do 1 more inch. But we have like 20 more inches to go until we're at that same kind of halfway between middle and crazy. So yeah, push it really, really hard. You've got some crazy stuff elsewhere in your design you've done. This is pretty crazy, energetic, on the throw and stuff. So I think you have room to explore that more than you have. Yeah. Okay, Dead Space, let's go. Speaking of crazy, let's go. Okay, so this is kind of quieter mixing wise than I'd expect this piece to be. This is one of those things where I actually checked my everything, my hardware, everything, to make sure that I didn't turn things down inadvertently. Here we go, one more time. So this like the kind of voice thing here, it doesn't strike me as particularly close or dangerous. It's creepy and sounds unnerving, but if I, again, close my eyes, it sounds a bit to me like this guy is at the end of a hallway or something, So be careful of A, just the loudness, period, and B, the ratio of the direct sound compared to the reverb in this space. Because the more you change that ratio, the more it'll sound like it's not close or it's extremely close, right? So here, this is, back to the note of storytelling again, this thing is like all we care about in this scene, right? This is all that matters in this cutscene. Like it's on us. Look at this. What else matters right now? There's some alarm in the background that's worthwhile, sure. But the alarm is almost arguably louder than this character is. At first. And then the... Scary. So the mixing there, I would encourage you to explore some more like up and down, compress stuff hard, make it like way at the front of the mix. You can even duck other things out of the way to make more room for that. Because it's, you can risk clipping and distortion and kind of just cluttering things up and getting things muddy if you just turn stuff up, right? But if you move things out of the way and make room for what all the point of the story is, then the story point in that moment in time, then I think you'll find your mixing will get really engaging and like way more energetic and dynamic. So here, you put a lot of time and effort into the voice and it's super cool. I think it could just be a little more upfront. And besides that, because it's not super loud, it's also illuminating and magnifying some of the other things that might be missing from the mix. So things like the fall, Let's listen to that again. I feel like it was missing. I might be wrong, but let's go here. We got this. Like it's kind of there. It's like wada wada, but it's kind of all there is. But really, like that wouldn't be what the fall sounds like. Look how all the scrabbling and stuff there is, right? Yes, like for sure you're squirming and like the thing is squirming around on the ground here. That swing. There's a lot of movement you can dig into, like details wise. The gore makes me want to design it. Go for it. Do it up. The yeah, like the fall, it's gonna be more like it's much more multifaceted. It's like a multi-stage kind of fall, right? You're not gonna be like just poof. We're not dropping a sandbag. And that totally sounds like a sandbag falling. It's like poof. You know? Yeah, so whoa, nice voice. The door closing is kind of missing too. And this is a great, I don't know what the original game sounds like, but this could maybe use some pre-life. And by pre-life, I mean, you know, something in the sound that helps forewarn, you know, incoming audio or incoming events. This door just kind of closes. And I'm not sure what's happening in this storyline. Like if this door was something that the protagonist knows is going to be closing right now. You know, it doesn't really have a lot of warning there. So yeah, it closes, sure. But this is like some more, so on the whole, Dead Space is like a really abrasive, like unnerving, kind of jagged, hard-edged kind of designed game. So having more of like the metal ground, the metal like the metal thing at the closing, I don't think you could probably explore like some more like harsh textures too in the metal with the closing. Let's do the classic. Close your eyes and listen one more time. So what killed our enemy here? If you just close your eyes. 3, 2, 1, and. Like, I have no idea. It's kind of a nondescript general whoosh. And those nondescript general whoosh, those are very, very useful sometimes. But in this case, the door is, look how big the door is in the frame. It's like 60 to 75% of our frame, right? It's so big. So to not hear any of the door beyond whoosh, that layer in there is for sure going to be valuable. I would probably leave it in there for sure. But some like some metal squeaking, some ronking, like some big, you know, imply the impact was like two metal things hitting hard. There's a lot more room there. Because yeah, it's basically not really telling us what this thing is made of, like the door itself. It's worthwhile. And for pre-life, like maybe you could have some kind of countdown. I use that word loosely, like some kind of charging up, some kind of thing with like a movement over time to imply the door's closing soon. We just don't really hear that. Because yeah, what's happening? Is the character like reacting to the door close sound they know well or something? Like there's a lot of room you can just to interpret further what's actually happening in the scene. Anyway, it's probably enough there. I want to leave zero time for Alex. On the whole, are we standing out in a positive way? I think you've got, like, you claim to have a lot of stuff that you're not really showing us, right? Like you have these projects. Like I want to see your game jam stuff. I want to see your mobile game stuff. Even though it might not be relevant to your AAA aspirations, it's still like finishing any project at all, William, is really worth knowing, you know? So I'd love to see some of what you've worked on. I'd love to see more of, you know, some proof and some interesting work on Fmod and Wise and, you know, Unreal Unity. And it may even be worth having that stuff in your main reel, you know, take Arrival out and put in some indication of your implementation notes. Because keep in mind, they might not even read your about. They might just look at your reel. And if your reel is all trailer stuff, it might be cool, it might sound good, and you might attract further attention. But if your reel has awesome trailer stuff and also awesome gameplay stuff, then again, just another plus, right? You're looking to add pluses wherever you can. So I don't know that you're quite getting into like the definitely follow up pile yet of the application list, but I think you've done a lot of cool work that like you probably could be there very easily. Just a matter of how you're communicating your work, you know? So, yeah, thanks a lot. Cheers. Some claps in the chat, please, for William Biggs. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into Alex's stuff. Alex, as I mentioned earlier, for those who rolled in a bit later, Alex is now working as, I just had it here. I promise I just had it. He's working at Cloud Imperium as what? A junior sound designer? Is that right? Junior technical sound designer at Cloud Imperium. So one of these is in order again for Alex. Landed that gig, put in the time, paid off. Good work. Proud of you. Let's jump in. So we got, hi, my name's Alex, sound designer and audio engineer, Max MSP programmer, passionate about game audio implementation and DSP. You can find my CV here. All right. So I love this page. Look at this background. Those waves, though. Very nice. Okay, so we got a reel. It's 104 long. 10x. There it is. Excellent. We have Wise Unity integration. Burgundy is a demo I created to demonstrate my proficiency with some Wise and Unity integration features. The sound design is original, and most of the systems created using Wise are described in the following walkthrough. Did I see this before? This sounds familiar to me. I don't know when you last put your work our way, Alex. I can probably find out. Here it is. November 2020. So relatively recently in the grand scheme of things. Cool. So Max MSP, I program custom audio devices such as flexible samplers, basic reverbs, audio spatialization devices using binaural and ambisonic externals, synths, and utilities. Great. Super cool. I also create minimalist visuals using jitter. Oscillator waveforms are switched stochastically using a table of weighted probabilities, and the audio morph is smooth with gen... something? tilde? Particle system written with JIT-gen and some OpenGL jitter modules. The background is actually displaying the lifetimes of the particles. Haptic design. I've never seen haptic design. I'm literally digging into designing controller vibration in Fmod now, like just as of like yesterday. So this is cool, and I never had previously. This is new for me too. If you have an iPhone with iOS 13.0 or later, you can download the Low Felt Studio app and scan these QR codes to experience the haptics I designed for a few sounds. Sick! This is so cool. Make sure your phone's not in silent mode in order to hear the audio. Okay. Recording and mix, a short reel consisting of some music projects. Okay. Beating. Beating is a sound installation, an exploration of sine waves. Is that the background too? The fundamental building blocks of sound. Yeah. A showcase of the beating effect and the physicality of sound through an immersive composition, accompanied by a visual analog in the form of audio reactive 3D Lisa Jouse curves. Gotta be Lisa Jou, right? The listener will create their own perception of the piece by moving around the space and discovering pockets of rhythm, dissonance, and pure sine tone. The decision to remain static and explore the temporal dimension of the composition is encouraged as well. Alex! The relationship between the individual sound objects is expressed through the visuals. The audio signals are used as modulating inputs to produce a unified visual output. What a guy. This is crazy. So this is what I mentioned earlier. This is like the Josh Adam Bell effect of look at all this stuff. We've listened to nothing so far. Like, who wants to hire this guy? Already. We've listened to nothing. And it's like, okay, Alex is obviously serious. We should probably hire him before someone else does. Yeah, very nice. Oh, and by the way, the sine waves, the fundamental building blocks of sound. Yeah, check it out. Look at this. Here we go. See that? The sign tattoo. Agreed. And so this is like the sentence I speak out loud to people who ask why. There you go. So Alex and I are pals already. Yeah, so Raiden says, I don't know anything about audio, but Alex seems to know what they're talking about. Right? Like some of this is absolutely over my head. Absolutely. Because there's so many directions you can go in audio. And it's like very common and really to be expected that people will go in a direction you didn't go in. And this is like I've almost never used Max MSP, like very briefly early on and just never again. And not because it's not worth using, just not the direction I went in, right? So there you go. Let's hear some freaking work, shall we? Let's go. Okay, getting long. Carry on. Oh, just changed. Just changed right now. At like 30 seconds, I was ready for a change, but we'll carry on. Well, I've seen these clips, right? Aren't these the same? Cool. All right, nice. So I've seen, I don't recall Super Hot, but for sure, halfway through this clip, I was like, oh, I've seen this clip designed by Alex, 8 months ago or whenever it was. And then also this clip, I think followed your control clip last time too. So are these are updated from last time, or are they the same as last time? That's my question. Because this says, oh, this is like the release date, not the date of your design, I assume. The date is a weird thing to include, maybe. Did we talk about that last time? Did you change that? The date is maybe weird because, oh, not on Real Talk. Ah, okay. So yeah, the date is weird because I do encourage dates on projects maybe if they're things you did or something. Even then, it's like maybe you don't need to. Just dates are dangerous. Like the developer here is enough. No one's gonna think like, oh, it's not the control from 1994. No one's gonna think that. If it's like God of War, maybe if there's room for confusion there, but there wasn't a control before this control, so it's okay. Excuse me. So let's watch through and talk presentation really quick. Again, Alex is hired, so this is kind of a moot conversation, but it's still, nice exercise, so we'll do it. I love this intro, super cool, matches the style of the page, all that stuff, we know it does. Alex obviously has an eye for visuals and presentation, so let's carry on. What is MK Ice and Fire? Is that like the streamer who's playing it or something? MK Ice and Fire. A linear redesign of Super Hot is a bold move because there's so much going on all the time. Dates are dangerous. Yes, exactly. It's convincing though. Like this is not a bad redesign as far as like the forward and back of the audio, like as far as the pitching and stuff. Like even here with the glass, you have the glass breaking on the right side. Cool. Yeah, pretty strong. Control. Have you changed this since you and I talked about this? I feel like I maybe repeat myself a bit here and there, but I think we were talking about reverb a lot last time. Like the verb here is pretty dominating in general. It is a big space, mind you. But I just catch myself like my ear being pulled to the reverb over and over again. So maybe there's room to like widen it up and keep the stuff in the middle that's important, or just pulling it down in general, or even changing the impulse response, like the frequency content, so it's not quite so like right in the middle. It's a lot of that. Yeah, we were talking about like general ambient stuff, Ezekiel. I recall that too. It sounds like there's not. Is there one enemy? You know? And there isn't. Like there's a lot of room here to fill in. And this is why linear redesigns of AAA shooty games like this they're tough because there's so much going on. It just sounds like an empty room. If we listen again, go eyes closed. It's a great practice. Let's go. So right there was nothing happening but the grenade. Moving on. Like there's nothing there. It's like we have this huge reverb tail. That's also why the reverb is pulling my ears so much, because it's all there is in the mix. Like a like 2 seconds of reverb. Oh, it's so much reverb. So yeah, there's so much room to further put in like, are they walking distance? Are they shooting and we can't see it? Like if you can't see something, you can just tell it. We can just interpret and invent some characters over here behind the wall. You know, it's just your call. We can just do that. And really, if you have an empty space like this and everything you can see is in fact not moving, then that might even be a good choice just in terms of presentation and storytelling to inject some more story into that moment. This is your linear redesign. It's your call. No one's going to be like, but was there someone back there? Like no one's going to tell you that, right? So you can definitely be taking that opportunity to just inject more interest and engagement over time into the mix. Because that's egregious. that's crazy. So this here, I can't recall if Control has a sound while you're holding something like that. I feel like there's something that's like, or something like that while it's being controlled in the air. And I think you and I talked about the fact that the away here of that was a phone, looks like, the away is a bit impacty. It's like doof, rather than like zoof. And yeah, I feel like settings. They mentioned that this is actually a credited person on the page, so no worries, apparently. It's not really a shot. It's like a throw, right? There's nothing happening there. Having like an impactful whoosh is probably a better move than just like a transient. Isn't quite the same story. Because again, if you took that phone and threw it at a wall, there'd be an obvious impact at the wall impact. Like you have that moment of transient, but you may want to be careful of using transients in places that are different than the other transient moments in the project. Does that make sense? Just from a storytelling and kind of Pavlovian perspective, you reserve transients. That is like, you know, changes like that. You reserve those moments for actual impacts. This is not really an impact. It's just no way. Yeah, maybe a bold move. So there's something else in here too. This is okay. I think it makes sense to me, seeing this real as it is right now. It makes sense to me that you were hired as a junior technical sound designer, because I think if you were going for a sound designer position with this reel right now, there are some absences in the design and some gulfs that could probably be filled before you'd be hired legit. But your technical understanding and aptitude and passion is like so damn obvious. So I think it makes sense. And your foundation for sound design is really strong too. So there's some really cool design in here, but I feel like one place I might encourage you to consider a little more attention is I think right now you're doing a very active, like it seems to me you're actively picking and choosing the frequency focus of different sounds. So some things are higher frequency, some things are lower frequency, some, low, mid, high, mid, whatever. I think that it's, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels to me like you're making those choices like pretty mindfully. But with that, I think you could be a little more nuanced with it yet. So it's less about, this frequency focus of, this sound X in the game should be high frequency. That should be the focus. Sure. But that doesn't necessarily mean there should be no low frequency in the sound, And that's what I mean by being nuanced, is you can say, yes, we're going to have a frequency curve that looks like, Paint 3D, what the heck is this? New paint, new. Let's go. We're learning. Here we go. So here's your spectrum, right? So just because you want something to be high frequency doesn't mean you need to have the sound that looks like this in the EQ. It can be like this, or it can be like this. So this is still like the focus. That's what's going to be punching through, but you're not losing the weight in the sound. If it's a big sound, like a gunshot or something like that, it might still be worthwhile to have this. If it's a heavy sound, like you're throwing some big object and you've got a curve that you think, it needs to be frequency focused like down here. Sure, again, doesn't need to be like this. You can be like this and be like, let's have it down here. So this is still the focus, but we still have like some air movement, like some whoosh in the sound, some there. So it's not only woo, woo, only it's woo, woo, right? So with things like, there's one grab you did. So that's nice. That's great. It's a great mix of like the high and the low right there. But there was one that was like woo, only low. Nice shot. Yeah, because those beefy moments are so like disparate, it's kind of singular in its frequency content. Because of that, they tend to stick out in the mix. It's like you hear like you hear that kind of, it calls your attention because you're like hearing it by itself. It's not like it's this nuanced sound that's like fitting into a full environment. It's like it's just down there by itself. And like that shot there, I think I gave this feedback to you on Twitter too, but this impact right here, it's pretty, like the lows are there, yes, but this is like here right now, but that it's got the firecrackers and like it's full whiteout when it smashes, on your face. Look at that. Like this for sure would be like you'd have that in there somehow. So you need to have those highs in there. So it's a mixture of things. And this really being in your face explosion could probably be broadband. Like that could be like this, and that's the kind of thing that you'd probably duck the mix to make room for because it's broadband. All right, so moving on. Yeah, sounds like you're working with a bass drum player. You hear those thumps there, Alex? Like here? It's like here. Yeah. After the explode, here. It's like thum, 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 thum. Yeah, just keep hearing that by itself. So because it's like we're hearing this boom, 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 is every time it's like the same spot on the EQ. As a result, it tends to be like, hey, this is the same thing happening over and over again, but it's not the same thing happening over again. It's like it's different story elements you've chosen to put the same frequency content into. So just be very aware of that and try to nuance things out a bit. Okay, so that's probably enough there. And then this, I feel like you made some changes to. Was there some Foley notes we gave you last time that are a little better? That transition. William, you see that? William Biggs, you in the house? Look how obvious that was in terms of its design, its editing. Looks great. Yeah, cool. I think the Foley got some work, I think, if I recall. He messed with the mix a bit. The room tone was high before. Yeah, I recall the ambience being like all... It was a shot about the ambience, but it was like all there was ambience. So I think you've done a great job of bringing in the details into the shot. One thing that stuck out in my first watch through, I think you and I talked about like having a more... a difference in ambience between the outside and inside. There's a bit of a sudden introduction of birds here. And now there are birds, you know? Like the birds, as loud as they are in this scene, would probably be audible a bit from like here, you know? It stuck out to me as like, okay, now there's a birds track on the timeline, you know? So there's probably, there could be a little more effort to help worldize that kind of thing. But on the whole, like, yeah, pretty solid clip. Really nice. Great. Are you signing out? Well, hell yeah, because you got hired. Good job. Nice work. I love hearing that folks who've been on Real Talk are now working in the industry somewhere they want to work. That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot. As always, both Alex and William, if you have any follow-up questions, clarifications you want answered, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. Either one of these accounts down below will get to me, no worries. And if anyone else out there wants to submit their own work for Real Talk, feel free to do so down below on Twitter, or either on the on Twitter or on our website forum. If you're not on Twitter, that's fine, of course. Just use the website email and we're good to go. And I think right now the waitlist is pretty long. Let me check this. The next slot is September 30th, of which there is one slot, and then October 14th. So there's it's a bit of a line right now. But if someone wants like some offline feedback, feel free to ask. I can't guarantee I will find immediate time for it. Or I may even just forget entirely because like we do this stream because it's like on the schedule, right? So it's hard to forget we have reels to review if we're like, if the calendar says 12 noon on this day, we're doing it, right? We'll find time for it. So let me get this back on here again. Some tunes again. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, well, I'll try and find time. I can't guarantee it, and it won't be as in-depth, obviously. It'll be more like kind of stream of consciousness stuff, but feel free. Okay, and thank you all in the chat as well. This one's for you. There you go. For all your wonderful input and feedback as per usual. I love the supportive crew we have here. So nice to see. And I guess I will see you again in 2 weeks, I guess. Shall we? Okay, thanks a lot.